So, thank you all for this wonderful opportunity, and a good afternoon to all of you. So, this topic is, I think, somewhat very different from the rest of the topics. So, let me introduce this topic to you in a manner that all of us understand very easily. And first thing I want to say is, the other day, a friend of mine who is a doctor who had come back from US, he specializes in personal health care. So he wanted to kind of, set up a particular institution that which takes care of especially lifestyle diseases like blood pressure, diabetes, and all these things. So he was wondering where to set up this, his office so that he can get maximum footfall. And he was thinking in terms of, the growth rate for the coming years and many more years to come. So he asked me, what is the best place in Delhi? Where should I set up my clinic or my office? Okay. So I told him that, well, you should ask Amazon. I said, yeah, I did a Google search, but nothing really came out. I'm still clueless. Okay. I said, I did not say Google. I said, you need to ask Amazon. He was startled for a while. And could you guess why I said that? Sorry? Okay. Okay. I told him very clearly one thing. Look, Amazon is into pantry. Yes or no? And when Amazon is into pantry, they know how much of Annapurna iodized salt is being sold, how much of Tata iodized salt is being sold, how many people are buying, and Amazon also knows where these people are. Yes or no? So they know the geospatial location of these people who are buying in what quantities and at what frequencies. Yes or no? And we know the density of the population in those locations too. Correct? So now, given this amount of information, if we put all this information together and create a heat map of the consumption of salt, which in a way leads to these diseases of, say for example, I don't say disease, it's kind of normal these days, so it's blood pressure and all. So you would be able to clearly identify where you should set up your office. Yes or no? All that you need to do is create a geospatial location. And Amazon has every piece of information related to who is consuming, how much they are consuming, and at what frequency they are consuming. They know everything. And so now, most of the retail analytics, the entire space is in the area of Amazon. Amazon will provide you the competitive intelligence. Let's say, for example, I'm Tata Salt. I want to know how much of Annapurna iodized salt is being sold. I can easily understand that where is my market share bigger and where is my market share smaller. Yes or no? So this is the beauty of Amazon. At the back end, what they can do is I'm not sure, I'm not from Amazon and I don't have any experience. If any of you are from Amazon, maybe you can share your experience with us. They can integrate whatever this information that they are selling, and then they can put it and they can sell it as a intelligence to the various organizations. Yes or no? And that's the beauty of Amazon. Now, the other day, you remember recently there were some blasts in London, train blasts, right? And after that they were doing a search, and I found a very interesting thing, that you can buy material that which you can make bomb from Amazon. And when you buy something related to a particular material on Amazon, it tells you that people who bought this, they also bought this, another material which goes with it. Okay? So now, imagine that's a controversy which is going on with Amazon, saying that how can a big organization or institution like Amazon cannot see this kind of a thing happening. right? So now that's where crime is. It's easy to commit crimes, right? And it's easy to buy a lot of stuff that you want for whatever reasons, whatever you want to make, easily online. Yes? So now the whole topic of, what is this? Today's topic, I'm going to kind of, start from here and pitch it at a level where it's mostly at a basic level. I really do not want to get into math. If you want to discuss math with me, we can discuss the math outside this particular session. But for now, we'll stay put with what exactly we are going to do in this particular session. It's all about predicting crime and recidivism, right? So what is criminology? So we need to kind of understand a little bit of each of these concepts so that, we are very okay with what we are going to do. First, there's a lot of debate. It's a biological urge to commit crime. Like the way you want to do, gratify your natural urges. Similarly, crime is also one such thing. And there's another thing which people talk about. They talk about, say, psychology as such. Okay? People have a tendency to kind of, poke others. Yes or no? It's not a biological urge. It's kind of a psychological urge, just for fun. Yes or no? So similarly, in the same thing, there is a difference between biology and psychology, and so people have different reasons for kind of, doing small things, small crimes, petty crimes, versus they can do even bigger crimes. Clear? That's all. Now economics. Purely it's in economics. You can see, I'm from economics background, so I have to defend it, and I will defend it definitely. So if you look at what is the reason for committing crime, well, the most important thing is people commit petty crimes, property crimes, burglaries, robberies. It doesn't kind of, stop here. Right from olden days, you can see a lot of stories. Indian mythology is full of these kind of stories. So people do commit crime because they need money. They need to survive, and the basic survival makes them to do the most heinous of all professions, to pursue heinous professions, and this one of the thing is crime. Sociological aspects, geographical aspects. Now geography is very important for crime. Geography, as you would see here, if something is happening here, some kind of a crime, every other police station will be alerted immediately. Why does that happen? So that they understand this sort of a crime can be repeated in those locations too, and they are better be careful and prepared for these kind of eventualities. Now statistics and computer sciences, these are the things that help you predict. Okay? The other things are basically theories that which kind of, geography says how it's going to spread. Statistics and computer sciences helps you to run the models. Economics give you a way to model. Okay, so all these things it's a confluence of all these theories that which we look at.
Biology and genetics.
Yeah.
Do they have a role in that also?
Sorry?
The second point is biology.
Biology, yeah.
So how does that fit in?
Well, biology is basically a natural urge. So a natural urge has to be treated differently, and we just cannot predict. Then it's kind of, we call those people and we put them aside, we try to understand, and then we try to change them psychologically. Biological thing can be addressed only through psychologically. It's not, you cannot, okay. So to that extent, certain types of these crimes, they are easily predictable. Certain types of crimes, they are not easily predictable, okay. So I'll take the questions in the end if you're all okay with that, okay. Okay. So now, the theories of crime, if you look at the rational choice theory, the rational choice theory says that I have weighed the costs and benefits of doing this crime. I know with what probability I'm going to be caught if I commit this crime, and so if I look at this particular option that I have right in front of me to burgle this person or to kind of, scare him and mug him right now in front of all of you, what is the probability? very high probability that I'll be caught. So would I commit crime now? No. But I would commit crime when none of you are here. So it's kind of a sheer cost-benefit analysis, and people are rational in terms of doing their math. They're understanding the probability with which they're going to get caught. They know very well understand where the police beat is. So they accordingly plan their action, right? So social disorganization theory talks about, well, let's take a look at families where parents are fighting all the time, lot of neighborhood broken windows, in the sense hardly there is any income, most of the houses are dilapidated. So what happens is you grow in such an environment, you kind of lose the sense of what the other side is, and perhaps it is more easy for you to take a crime. So broken glass windows theory talks about it. And strain theory talks about, well, I want immediate results. I just cannot wait. If I just cannot wait, I have to satisfy my urge immediately. What is it that I'm going to do? Right? This is the kind of an instant gratification kind of a thing if you have, then strain theory comes into picture. So you do not want to wait, you want to cut corners somehow, and one of the possible ways to do is basically to commit some kind of a fraud or commit some crime. So there are many more theories of crime. So this is what exactly where the motive to commit crime comes from. These are all the theories. And this particular topic is not going to talk about the motive for committing crime. How many of you watched Usual Suspects? You all understand, they try to understand what exactly is the reason for committing crime. And Kevin Spacey nicely gives a very fantastic story. He weaves a wonderful story, and he finds that in the end, everything is on the board. Right? So this kind of a motive is not what we are interested in. All that we are interested in is essentially you have a history of crimes and you want to predict how crimes are repeated. Okay? Who's going to commit a crime? So that's the topic. Okay? Why is it important? Well, it's extremely important for many reasons. It's for tactical analysis, on-the-spot improvisations of how to handle the situation, reorganize the beats, operations, and crime pattern analysis. If it is happening this way today, we might expect this to happen tomorrow somewhere else. It's for a short-term nature. So it's a mostly tactical nature. And you can predict crimes also. Let's say, for example, who is the most likely person who might have committed that kind of a crime? You can all try to understand all those tactical aspects. Strategic aspects, how is crime changing over time? Geographically, as well as spatially, as well as temporally. Okay, that's very important, because as the time passes on, the growth of a particular city shifts from one location to another location. As this kind of a thing happens, the crime also keeps shifting, right? And when crimes keep shifting, are you able to analyze and understand this phenomena or not? If you are able to understand this phenomena, are you able to kind of avoid or deter crime in time or not? And what is the kind of resources that you need to kind of deter this crime? All these things, they would be of a lot more importance. So that's the strategic analysis. Now if you see that a persistent problem which is happening for a long time, especially say for example in our neighborhoods of Chicago, all of you must have read Freakonomics, the drug problems, yes or no? That's common there everywhere, right? Now how do you address these problems? That's not a tactical solution, but it has to be a strategic solution for that. Okay. So the focus of this talk is on spatio-temporal analysis of crime. We want to kind of look at spatio-temporal analysis, and then we want to look at how do we predict recidivism. So these are the two things that we want to look at. Okay. I'll try to do as much as possible, given the time. I have only 45 minutes of time, but I'll try to do as much as possible. I will give you some demonstrations also. The most important thing is life is becoming much more easier thanks to huge impact of development of latest softwares, and most of the softwares which are available for free for all of us to use. And so we can combine all these things to generate a lot of insights regarding how the crime is progressing geographically as well as temporally. And similarly, I want to understand repeat offending, recidivism. Okay. So between the two, the former one is more effective, which implies what? You deal with the magnitude rather than with the individual people to curb the crime. Okay, that's the objective. Okay, so let's take a look at Spatial. Let me just give you a heads up about what are the takeaways. So as part of this, if you're all interested in learning how to do the spatio-temporal analysis, what are the easy ways, I'll just try to tell you what all things can be done, and generating hotspots of crime, predictive models for recidivism, what kind of models that you use, and where you can readily obtain the softwares, the programs written along with the data, so that you can understand the entire machine learning techniques and everything. So the basic objective here is to kind of pass on the information that which is related to. If you are interested in learning, you can do all these things. That's the objective of this particular talk. Okay. So hotspots of crime. So the first law of geography says everything is related to everything else. Spatially, everything is related to everything else. But near things are even more related, okay, than distant things. So whatever happens right here, it has its spillover effects in the immediate vicinity, and it decays with the distance. That's the idea that which the geography of first law talks about. Okay, and this is put forward by Tobler, and this aspect is very important for crime, or it is even important for understanding any of these, say for example, retail analytics with geospatial implications. Okay. So first model that which I just want to kind of briefly address so that you understand what exactly is crime and its spatio-temporal impact. If you want to understand that clearly, you all understand earthquakes, right? The moment earthquake happens in Mexico, people are so worried that they may repeat, they don't even want to go back to their houses. They want to sleep in open spaces or in auditoriums so that nothing happens to them. So because we expect a series of things, and maybe bigger ones are expected. So you want to be very careful with that. So in that case, there are certain models called as self-exciting point process models or epidemic type aftershock models. This is extensively used in biological sciences, where you want to kind of model, especially what do you call these things, which are very epidemic kind of a scenarios. This one example you can see, it's a very recent example. I don't have to kind of have you heard about this one? Shopping mystery in Rajasthan, Haryana, Delhi and Punjab? Any of you? It was a kind of a scare. I live in Gurgaon. My driver keeps telling me that Saab, aaj yahan pe hua, wahan pe hua. It's kind of a speculation, and the speculation starts with some kind of reality, and then that reality kind of spreads. So it is kind of a serial implication. It is kind of it's time, it spreads. Now you look at this one. All these three people, they are compared to Al Capone, Lucky, and Little Caesar. Who are all these people? You understand Godfather, right? And these are the people. At one point of time, they scared entire of Bombay. Lot of gang wars, gang rivalries. And so what exactly, if you look at crime and earthquake have got to do, I'll just show you a picture. It has been taken from a journal article. I'm sorry if you're not able to see. I'll share the slides with the team so that you can have these slides if you want. First is, this is the left one. The left one is all about earthquakes in San Francisco. San Francisco is an earthquake-prone place. Keeps on getting earthquakes. In a span of 110 kilometers or less, magnitudes of greater than 3 in about 200 days. Or 300 days, 300 days, 110 kilometers radius, 3 or less earthquakes. If you look at, 3 or greater, you can see there are constant a sequence of earthquakes happening over time, right? Now the same is the case with the gang wars in Los Angeles, I guess. This one is Los Angeles, I guess. Okay, burglary events in Los Angeles. Again, you see on the right histogram of times, less than 50 days. In less than 50 days, between burglary events separated by 200 meters or less. You see this pattern of crime, 50 days or less, so many number of crimes. It's similar to what you're seeing as earthquake phenomena. So you can model these crimes that which are happening using a model called as self-exciting point cross models. So the most important thing that I would want to drive from this particular discussion is that the geography is really important, and geography combined with time is also important, and everyone wants to understand where is my product selling the most, who is my competitor, and how is this share selling in the same area. If you look at Amul, it's a $24,000 billion, 24,000 crore company or a 27,000 crore company. It has excellent market intelligence. They have excellent information about who is selling where and how much. But it is all collected in a raw data format. But now imagine with Amazon pantry kind of a scenario, you can easily get this kind of information by tying up with Amazon and getting the data from Amazon. They will tell you what are the graphs, what are the sales of your competitor and your sales, and you can see how these sales are varying, and then you can accordingly plan everything. So that's the most important point why geography and time are important for analytics. Okay, so let's take a look at spatial temporal modeling of crime. I'll just show you how to generate certain statistics. Okay, global spatial autocorrelation, this is an indicator. What exactly this says is, how is this location, something happened in this, is related to similar things happening in the rest of the locations. As you see, with distance the effect decays, right? So first thing that you have to create is a vector called as weight vector. In spatial autocorrelation, you have to come up with a weight vector for each and every neighborhood, and how is it related to, say for example, 100 kilometers away place or 50 kilometers away place, what is the weight? And that weight should be decreasing with the distance. So that's the first thing that which you would look at when you are building a spatial autocorrelation models. Okay. Now, the uses are, you understand the hotspots of crime and increase the effectiveness of police beat. These are the two important things that which you would want to look at. What is this? What is a hotspot? It is where the intensity of crime is the highest, and you would see series of crimes happening at a higher higher rate of occurrence in certain places, and that we call as hotspots. So what is the software that you have with easily available software? Anyone, if you are aware of this one? I'm just kind of curious. This is an openly available software prepared by Arizona and then shifted to Chicago. GODA, CAST. This is good for regression models. This is good for spatial models. This is good for visualizing spatio-temporal phenomenon. CAST is good for visualizing spatial temporal phenomenon. GODA is good for visualizing, running regression models. And CrimeStat 4 combines both, and it has a high-end application. You can see all sorts of, say for example, the model journey to crime. How much distance a criminal travels to before he commits a crime. You want to understand that? You can do those kind of modeling here. Okay? So people do not generally commit the crime in the same location. They cross the borders and then they come back. Yes or no? So that's exactly similar thing. The journey of crime and all those things can be modeled using this one. And Spatial is another software which CAST also uses. Okay, so these are the GIS softwares that which are freely available for all of you to kind of download and play with the data. And each of these things have an accompanying set of data sets. Okay, now what these data sets contain, the data files that accompany that which you can use to run on these softwares, they have three types. Basically, one is called as a shape file. It defines the boundaries, the polygon shapes of a neighborhood. And then you have a database file. What is the database file? The number of crimes, the day, the time of the day, and then the week, day, and then the incident number, so on and so forth. The information will be there, and given information, it is stored in a database file, and sometimes they store also the information related to latitude and longitude, or else the information is stored in SHP files, the shape files, and the index format of the shape file is given in SHX. So if you have these three files, you can load the data immediately into any of these files, and you can see nice pictures. Okay, so let's do a couple of them. Let's generate some examples. So I have a cast software here. I'm going to work with first the spatio-temporal models, and then I'm going to work with the spatial models. Okay, this is software which tells you, say for example, let me just close all these things.